Jane Austen was born on December 16, 1775, in the Hampshire village of Steventon. Her father, the Reverend George Austen, was rector in the Hampshire village. She was the second daughter, and seventh child in a family of 8, 6 boys, and 2 girls. Their father was a scholar, who encouraged the love of learning in his children. Austen lived most of her life in Hampshire, in the bounds of her immediate family environment. Her closest companion, throughout her life, was her elder sister, Cassandra. Neither Jane nor Cassandra married. Although Reverend Austen came from an old and wealthy family of wool merchants, but as each generation of eldest sons received inheritances, the wealth was divided, and George's branch of the family fell into poverty. Therefore, financial stability was a concern, as the family relied primarily on her father's income. In 1783, Austen and her sister Cassandra were sent to Oxford to be educated by Mrs. Anne Colley, who took them to Southampton later that year. That autumn, both girls were sent home after catching typhus, from which Jane Austen nearly died. She was from then home educated until she attended boarding school with her sister from early in 1785. At the Reading Abbey Girls' School. The curriculum probably included French, spelling, needlework, dancing, music and drama. The sisters returned home before December 1786, because the school fees for the 2 girls were too high for the Austen family. Her primary education came from reading, guided by her father and brothers, James and Henry. Austen had access both to her father's library and that of a family friend, Warren Hastings. Her father provided both sisters with expensive paper and other materials for their writing and drawing. The earliest of her novels, published during her lifetime, Sense and Sensibility, was begun about 1795, as a novel in letters, called Eleanor and Marianne, after its heroines. It was published anonymously, and was described as being written by a lady. Both of the leading reviews, the Critical Review, and the Quarterly Review, welcomed its blend of instruction and amusement. Between October 1796 and August 1797, Austen completed the first version of Pride and Prejudice, then called First Impressions, which was published in January 1813. Pride and Prejudice seems to have been the fashionable novel of its season. Meanwhile, in 1811 Austen had begun Mansfield Park, which was finished in 1813, and published in 1814. While Mansfield Park was ignored by reviewers, it was very popular with readers. All copies were sold within 6 months, and Austen's earnings on this novel were larger than for any of her other novels. Between January 1814 and March 1815, she wrote Emma, which got published in December 1815. While Emma was prepared for publication, Austen began The Elliots, later published as Persuasion. She completed her first draft in July 1816. Until August 1816, she was occupied with Persuasion, and she looked again at the manuscript of Susan that was published as Northanger Abbey. Persuasion was published posthumously, with Northanger Abbey, in December 1817. Other work include 2 unfinished fictions. Sir Charles Grandison, Plan of a Novel, Poems, Prayers, Letter, and 3 volumes of juvenilia. Austen's writing has a strong element of literary satire, accompanied with a comic depiction of character and society. She vividly depicted English middle-class life during the early 19th century. Her novels defined the era's novel of manners, but they also became timeless classics that remained critical and popular successes for over 2 centuries after her death. Moreover, part of her fame rests on the historical and literary significance that she was the first woman to write great comic novels. Her novels remain popular and are considered classics of English literature. The enduring popularity of Austen's books can be seen in the numerous film and television adaptations of her work. Austen's novels have resulted in sequels, prequels, and adaptations of almost every type. Austen was feeling unwell by early 1816. Although the primary cause of her death is typically attributed to Addison's disease, some biographers have suggested Hodgkin's lymphoma as a possible factor in her final illness. Austen passed away on July 18, 1817, in Winchester, England, at the age of 41. Her brother, Henry Austen, revealed her true identity as the author of her novels after her death. She received numerous honors for her work that include her works featured on a series of UK postage stamps issued by the Royal Mail to mark the bicentenary of the publication of Pride and Prejudice in 2013. She is featured on the £10 note issued by the Bank of England, introduced in 2017, in place of Charles Darwin. In July 2017, on the 200th death anniversary, a statue of Jane Austen was erected in Basingstoke, Hampshire, in her honor.